Something just happened in the United States that has raised eyebrows across the world, and it directly involves the Nnamdi Kanu case. The government of the U.S. state of Georgia has officially conferred honorary citizenship on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and this is not just a symbolic gesture. This is a development that carries weight, influence, and a clear message to the Nigerian authorities handling his detention. If you care about Nigeria, if you care about justice, and if you've been following the Nnamdi Kanu case closely, then you need to pay attention and stay till the end. According to reports, the honorary citizenship is linked to growing concerns over due process, human rights, and the legality of Kanu's life imprisonment. But this is not where it ends. The move comes with a strong warning: possible U.S. visa restrictions on Nigerian officials who are involved in the case. These restrictions could affect judges, security officials, and government actors, potentially barring them from entering the United States if Kanu is not granted bail or released. That means the actions of officials in Nigeria are now being watched closely, and failure to act in accordance with internationally recognized standards could carry real consequences. Before we go deeper, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss future updates. This channel breaks news with sense, not noise. We analyze power, not propaganda. Now, let's dive into the story. From the moment Nnamdi Kanu re-entered the Nigerian judicial system, his case has never been an ordinary legal matter. What might have been routine legal proceedings instead unfolded under intense public scrutiny, diaspora advocacy, and growing international attention. Every adjournment, every delay, and every procedural decision became a subject of debate. And now, with the U.S. state of Georgia conferring honorary citizenship on him, the global spotlight is shining even brighter. For many, this move is more than recognition. It is a signal that the world is watching closely, and that the continued detention of Kanu without clear adherence to due process raises serious questions. Analysts note that this is a rare step, and it is not taken lightly. When a foreign state confers symbolic citizenship in a high-profile case, it is a way of saying, "We are concerned, and we are monitoring this closely." The implications for Nigerian officials are significant. Visa restrictions could target judges, security officers, and government actors involved in the trial. That means if the system continues to withhold bail or fails to act transparently, those individuals could face travel restrictions and diplomatic repercussions. These measures are designed to encourage compliance with recognized legal standards while stopping short of interfering directly in domestic judicial processes. For supporters of Kanu and human rights advocates, the honorary citizenship is a validation. For years, diaspora groups and advocacy networks have highlighted alleged procedural irregularities in his trial, from pre-trial detention to questions about legal representation and court conduct. Now, international recognition reinforces these concerns and signals that Kanu's case is not just a domestic matter, but an issue of global scrutiny. At the same time, the move sends a message to the Nigerian government: actions in politically sensitive cases have consequences beyond national borders. Legal experts argue that while domestic judicial independence is vital, in today's connected world, international norms and expectations play a role in shaping decisions, particularly in cases that attract human rights attention. The honorary citizenship, coupled with warnings about visa restrictions, underscores this reality. This development also reflects broader trends in international law and diplomacy. Governments are increasingly willing to signal concern when domestic legal processes are perceived to fall short of recognized standards. While the US is careful not to interfere directly, the message is clear: the world is watching, and failures to act transparently or fairly will not go unnoticed. Within Nigeria, the reactions are mixed. Supporters of Kanu see this as vindication and as evidence that international pressure can influence outcomes. Human rights advocates argue that the case highlights systemic flaws and underscores the need for judicial reform, greater transparency, and adherence to due process. Conversely, government supporters emphasize that the judiciary is independent and that external pressures should not dictate decisions. They warn that sovereignty and domestic law must be respected, even under international scrutiny. Analysts suggest that this is a pivotal moment for the Nigerian government and judiciary. The combination of symbolic recognition and practical leverage, through potential visa restrictions, places officials in a delicate position. On one hand, they must uphold judicial independence. On the other, they must manage international perception and avoid diplomatic fallout. Every decision, from bail hearings to procedural compliance, is now being observed closely, and missteps could have tangible consequences. The case also demonstrates the power of diaspora advocacy and global attention. Communities abroad have long been vocal about Kanu's detention, highlighting alleged irregularities and procedural concerns. The honorary citizenship is both a response to these advocacy efforts and a reminder that international attention can amplify local issues. In essence, it signals that domestic legal decisions are no longer insulated from global observation, particularly when human rights are involved. Legal scholars point out that while the honorary citizenship does not automatically guarantee Kanu's release, it has significant symbolic value. It communicates moral support, emphasizes adherence to due process, and highlights the potential consequences for officials who fail to comply with recognized legal standards. The associated warnings about visa restrictions transform this symbolic gesture into a practical form of accountability. This development is likely to intensify debates within Nigeria about judicial independence, accountability, and the proper handling of politically sensitive cases. Questions abound. Does continued detention without timely resolution align with legal norms? Are officials under undue pressure? And how should the government balance sovereignty with international expectations? These are questions that will shape discussions both in legal circles and in public discourse. For ordinary Nigerians, the situation underscores the importance of accountability and transparency in the judicial system. It demonstrates that decisions in high-profile cases have far-reaching consequences, and that public confidence in institutions depends not only on domestic law but also on adherence to internationally recognized standards. The intersection of domestic justice and international scrutiny highlights the challenges of managing sensitive cases in an era of global attention. The U.S. action also illustrates the strategic use of honorary citizenship as a diplomatic tool. By conferring this status on Kanu, Georgia is signaling support for procedural fairness and human rights while maintaining respect for Nigeria's sovereignty. It is a calculated move. Attention is drawn to the case, officials are reminded of the stakes, but direct interference is avoided. This balance reflects a sophisticated understanding of diplomacy, law, and global perception. For Nigerian officials, the potential visa restrictions serve as a subtle but powerful form of leverage. While not punitive in the traditional sense, they carry consequences that could influence personal mobility and professional engagements. This is a reminder that international norms matter and that decisions in politically sensitive cases can affect relationships, reputations, and operational freedom beyond the borders of Nigeria. Observers emphasize that the situation demonstrates how global attention, diaspora advocacy, and legal accountability intersect. The Kanu case is a clear example of how local judicial proceedings can quickly become international issues, particularly when human rights, procedural fairness, and political sensitivities are involved. It also shows that symbolic gestures, such as honorary citizenship, can carry real diplomatic weight. As this story continues to unfold, attention will remain focused on how the Nigerian government and judiciary respond. Will they act transparently, adhere to due process, and manage international expectations effectively? Or will continued delays and perceived irregularities escalate diplomatic tension? The answers to these questions will have implications not only for Kanu but for Nigeria's reputation, judicial credibility, and global perception. Supporters of Kanu view the honorary citizenship as a sign that pressure works. For them, the action confirms long-held concerns about procedural fairness and underscores the importance of international attention. They argue that it sends a clear message: the world is watching, and justice must be done. Conversely, critics caution against reading too much into symbolic gestures. They emphasize that domestic law and sovereignty remain central, and that international actions should not dictate judicial outcomes. What is clear is that this moment marks a new chapter in the Kanu saga. It demonstrates the increasing interconnectedness of domestic legal matters and global scrutiny. Decisions taken in Abuja will now be seen not only by Nigerians but also by foreign governments, human rights organizations, and international observers. Every action, every hearing, and every procedural step will be under a microscope. The honorary citizenship also serves as a reminder of the moral and symbolic power of international recognition. While not legally binding, it amplifies voices calling for fairness and accountability. It reinforces the principle that political and judicial actions have consequences beyond borders.